Welcome, heroes of the Storms fans of all ages, flavors, and varieties. Today we have a replay cast of the Heroic Division team in the NGS between BoomerGaming and Rodney's Imaginary Friends. Interestingly enough, both these teams are fairly middle of the pack in the Heroic Div standings, so they're both going to be looking to win out over the other to get some more precious points on their way towards the playoffs. As you can see on our best of 3 screen, we have Sky Temple and Towers of Doom bands from Boomer Gaming. And from Rodney's Imaginary Friends, we have Braxis Holdout Band as well as Volskaya Industries. Our first map will be Battlefield of Eternity, a strong 2-lane map that often focuses with good auto attackers plus decent poke mages to try and help you get that immortal race down quickly, as well as tanks that can help provide some space control for when you have to defend your own immortal. So we often see tanks like Garrosh, like Diablo, that can kind of keep your opponents either at bay or pull them into the stuns and knockbacks that the immortals can do. And then for race heroes, we often see things like Vala, Zul'jin, Greymane for the auto attackers, and for mages we often see things like Leeming, Chromie, or Gul'dan to help us burn down the immortals from a distance. Because this is a replay cast, we don't have the draft phase, so we'll go over the drafts quickly as we pop into the replay. And then once we've done a quick draft analysis, we will pop in and see what these teams have to offer. So, without further ado, Game 1 between Boomer Gaming and Rodney's Imaginary Friends here in Season 19 of NGS. We will starting right now. So, we see the blue team, which is Boomer Gaming, has drafted Rhaegar, Li Ming, Arthas, Vala, and Anubarak. So that looks to be an off-lane Arthas, which is usually in response to particular threats. It can be extremely strong into the Greymane we see on the opposite team because his E slows auto attacks. And Arthas's damage is a bit of a slow burn, but he can do plenty of damage if the fights go on a while. As for the rest of the team, Vala, Li Ming are standard racers and also safe team fight picks. Nubrak provides plenty of crowd control. And Rhaegar is overall, he can do camps, he can clear waves, he can offer both damage and burst healing. So just a good all-around team. Arthas is a little bit out of left field, although it could be common for this team. But this looks like it is very doable for this team. On the other side, we have Uther, Hogger, Hanzo, Greymane, and Muradin. Although I do see the name Rodney on the blue team, so I will double check to make sure I have the titles right for these teams. But from this team, we see that Hogger still one of the best offlaners in the game. He can do camps, he can clear lanes, he has a good escape, he has stuns, knockbacks, provides a lot, and he can do pretty solid damage when his rage is high as well. Uther is an excellent healer that provides backup stuns, so a Muradin stun into an Uther stun can really lock down a teammates, and if he goes Divine Storm, even more lockdown. If he goes Divine Shield, then a Hanzo or a Greymane can kind of, like a Greymane with a Divine Shield can do a lot of damage, especially to the likes of Li Ming and Vala, because you also cannot be crowd controlled while under the effect of Divine Storm. So this is also excellent race with Hanzo and Greymane. Muradin and Hogger can provide good space for your team, and Uther doesn't provide as much utility as Rhaegar in terms of wave clear and camp clear, but he has strong heals, gives his team armor, and has lots of stuns to offer. So, welcome Ryan Sarah, and thanks you for the sub. So, let's double check that we have the teams on the correct sides very quickly. Because made that mistake and we're going to do our best not to make that mistake again. So let's have a quick double checky on the members of Rodney's imaginary friends. Do they have someone named Rodney on their team? They do, so I have to flip these sides quickly. But very easily doable. There we go. The overlay should now be correct. It's hard to tell, did that do anything? Sorry guys, sometimes my OBS is a little bit of a pain in the butt. It doesn't always properly show me when I have the replays running. And I will have to reset the logos as well here quickly. There we go. All right, we have those switched. So it will be Rodney's Imaginary Friends with the team with Rodney on it. That makes sense. And it will be, in fact, BoomerGaming on the far side. So without further ado, let's get into this game and see some heroic Div Heroes of the Storm. On the blue side, we have Rodney's Imaginary Friends. Drinjo is playing Rhaegar. Rayvar is playing Li Ming. Asmochad on Arthas. Rodney77X playing Vala. And Sparklark118 playing the Anubarak. On the far side, we've got Uther being played by Bagatron. This is for BoomerGaming, by the way. Hogger being played by Chronicler. Dope Monster being played by who is playing Hanzo. iFeed playing Greymane, and Bellers playing Muradin. So, we're seeing a number of fairly centered talents. We have the block talent for Arthas, Q build for Vala, Beetle build for a noob, Aetherwalker, so an E build Li Ming start, and the Totem build for our Rhaegar. While on the far side, we do see the W build Wave of Light for Uther. This is the one I prefer myself. It just gives you a lot of extra healing and cuts down on the mana you need for it. Rage build for Hogger, which is normal. Anubarak's going to take a lot of damage. Sparklark's already taking a ton. But he doesn't overreact, just casts his shield and backs out as the wave prio goes in his team's favor. We see simple geometry, so the W build for Hanzo, which is excellent for racing. We see viciousness which is pretty much standard. Anubarak takes a stun again. Sparklark has to back off. And in the top, Asmochad here looks like he's attempting to just freeze the wave here and hold off, but Hogger has a lot of tools to kind of prevent the hold. So Beetle build means that Anubarak does not get the bonus armor that he would get if he took a new Nerubian armor at one, so he doesn't get as much help from the Hanzo damage, but Hanzo does a lot of auto damage as well, and Greymane is pretty much predominantly auto damage, so I can see why he'd use Beetles, although sometimes the Beetles can be a detriment. Hanzo can use the Beetles to, or not Hanzo, Greymane can use the Beetles to cast his Q, the cocktail, and then splash it onto and do a lot of damage as well. Stun there from Bagatron. He takes a bit of damage from the Growling Rhaegar there, as the offlaner to offlaner sings. Yes, offlaner sings. So usually at about 2 minutes or 2 minutes 20, the teams will go off to take their camp. So the Hanzo Dope Master is already up at their comp taking this. Greymane comes in to take as well. In fact, the blue team has decided that it's more important to take a siege camp in the bottom, so they're going to steal that away. And there we go. So 4s come in for both sides fairly equally. They are going to rush over to their camp, and the Immortals do spawn in 30 seconds here. Greymane waiting before he captures this camp. And you want it to start going just as the Immortals are spawning, because that can mean that if it's not answered, it can usually get a gate plus if the Immortal fight goes for a long time. So Li Ming and Rhaegar are on this camp. Sparklark team and but Chronicler guesses, he doesn't face check that bush, and that's the stun on Sparklark, but he manages to back away safely. So Ilarion is our blue Immortal, and up here we've got Belith, the demon. But the fight has started. Sparklark's seeing a lot of damage. He's getting low very quickly. Asmochad, though, does give them a second person to soak damage. There's a ton of damage on a Bellers, and he's forced to jump out. Now, we're not 7 yet, so Rhaegar does have a cleanse, and Uther doesn't yet. He gets it at 7, which means it's worth keeping an eye on that. Right now, in terms of cleanse advantage, that is strongly on the side of our blue team, Rodney's imaginary friends. So both teams are going to race. There's still a slight advantage to the red team, but it's quite close. Only about 1,000 damage separates these two immortals. And now we will once again see they settle into their sides. Sparklock is going to try to slow down the race because it's so fast for the red team, but he's not able to do very much. And the first race will go to BoomerGaming. And Belith makes an Illyrian pancake as he is ready to start charging down the bottom lane towards the high heavens. So they're beginning to prep the bottom lane. They push the wave in, and there is a small shield on the side of Belith here. And that shield consists of the health that was remaining on the other one. That's why they pancake them to steal their health. There's a lot of great clear here from both sides as well. So Belith will go down quickly. Looks like he's really only going to get the gate here. Beller stuns, and then the follow-up stun by Belith. So Sparklock does take a chunk of damage here. The keep is only going to take a small amount of damage, about 5%, and BoomerGaming will have to back off now. In the top lane again, there's been a little bit of gate damage here, and the entire gate almost taken out here from those siege camps. It looks like the teams are looking to engage in the middle here after this. Not normally how it goes. Asmachad jumped on by 3 members. Rodney getting aggressive with this follow blade. Bagatron does get rooted. He's taking a lot of damage. Is he going to go down? Yes! The first blood is Bagatron as he is killed by Rodney 77's Q-Build Vala. And now the 5-man is looking to take this top camp as Asmachad's it's not Asmodan. He's throwing me with his name. Asmachad's Arthas goes bot lane with the Hogger to compete for soak on the bot lane, while Hanzo has rotated to take this bottom camp. Grincho backing so he can get some mana. So now this is a 3 versus 2 in the top lane. Rodney tries to hit a Q to continue stacking. He does only have 9 stacks at the moment, while Hanzo is nearly finished. Simple geometry. Simple geometry. Apparently he was really into homework. Man, those Shamadas are nerds. So, Bagatron has returned, as has Drincho. The W does about 1/3 of Rodney's health. And later on, those Ws from Hanzo, if someone's close to a wall, can just delete a squishy character just in one shot. So we're seeing pokes on both sides, taxing the health bars. They're setting up for the party bush here. Sparklock is going to take a ton of damage. He gets the cleanse and has to burrow charge out as he takes a ton of damage. And this is going to set up BoomerGaming to try and win another race. Rodney's imaginary friends will be forced to walk past their opponents to get towards their immortal. Now here comes the root from Asmachad, and then the follow-up comes from Sparklock. Bagatron is taking a ton of damage again, and once again he goes down. Now, Uther can heal for a little while after he dies, but they're going to chase down the members here, and Rodney's going to go for the race as Drincho and Asmachad continue to chase the members of Rodney's imaginary BoomerGaming, and Hogger is in the top, clearing out waves. Sparklock looking to delay his opponents here, as once again it looks like this time Belith, the halftime race, will go to Rodney's imaginary friends this time in the blue. So they're going to try and win the race once again here. But again, it's very, very close. Bagatron has returned on his Uther. Hogger's race is ridiculous. It's so close, but this time Belith goes down, and the Illyrian is going to make a demon pancake to steal his health in the form of a shield. And this time, the angel from the high heavens will push towards the burning hells, or at least their structures. That's one of the neat things about this game, you see, is like this designed to be more hellish, dark iron, red. And you get the heavenly kind of vaguely churchy building. Just some neat design. Blizzard was once a very cool designer, guys. So, There's Syndragosa is taken at 10 by Arthas, so it freezes this building, which means it will not be defending itself. The stun there from Bellers onto the Dragon Arrow comes out as well. That's going to be a ton of damage. A great cleanse there by Drincho on Rayvar as he's able to get away, and the Cocoon pops out onto Greymane. They're clearing him out of that as the blue team backs off. Arthas has alternated away. Rodney's going to take a lot of damage now. He's down to about 10% of his health, but the Stormbolt comes just short. And now Rayvar using the Disintegration Beam. Ilarion is still fighting. He took down the fort and is now banging on the keep wall, but he's not able to be supported by his bodyguards, and he goes down. So for 10s, we do see Syndragosa, which makes sense for offlane Arthas. I do think for main tank Arthas, you still want the Army of the Dead, but for offlane Arthas, Syndragosa is a very good tool. They're looking to gank Asmachad, but Arthas can be a very difficult character to kill. He slows down attacks on him, which also affects like the Skullcracker for Murden. So he's very strong. He's going to rotate back top and clear the huge wave gathering top. So we do see Ancestral Disintegrate, the Syndragosa, Rain of Vengeance standard with a stun there for Vala and Cocoon. On the other side, it is going to be the Divine Shield to make that Greymane an unkillable damage force. Hortapult, Dragon's Arrow, Cursed Bullet, which again makes sense into a double tank combo, and Avatar from the Murden. So no haymakers today. The Dragon Arrow and the Stormbolt both miss. Ew. Some poor angel just caught that in the side of the face as he was preparing for his weekend. It's quite rude, Hanzo. And again, they're just looking to be aggressive with each other now. Both these teams are trying to make sure the other team doesn't feel too comfortable in their own space. Putting pressure on Asmachad, having a look at where he can see his opponents. They are going to capture their camp here. He's going to stop the rotation here so they can't defend their base. But in the end, his team decides not to do a hard siege, and everyone will back out. Rodney's imaginary friends will head for their camp as well as Arthas goes top to clear out this bruiser camp. Ilarion definitely doesn't sound like an arrogant person there at all. Nope. The glory of the high heavens! Bellers jumps in, but if he'd been any later, he would have landed right on a stun spot. That's pretty brave. He might get knocked back here. No, he just walks out in time. Another Q stack there for Rodney. We're going to have to zoom out a little bit further here. The defense is out, but again, Hanzo can poke this Immortal from a very long distance. So Syndragosa does come out. They're looking to start a fight right now. Bellers is taking a fair amount of damage here. Out comes the Dragon Arrow again. That hits 3. They're not able to follow it up very far, though. That was more for disengage, but Asmachad is jumping on the members of BoomerGaming here, and they take a lot of damage. Bellers is going to have to wait for his for his second wind kick, and he took Dwarf Toss and not third wind. So his health regeneration is going to be a little slower than it would have been otherwise. Asmachad gets seen by the vision, but he's got... Oh, he takes a big chunk there from the Cursed Bullet. He's taking a lot of damage. Oh, and Grincho misses the Ancestral Healing as it goes onto Rodney instead. So Arthas goes down, and now they're down a hero. That's a double stun onto the healer and the Ming. Grincho is about to go down as well. That's 2 for nothing for BoomerGaming over Rodney's imaginary friend. So they will charge into Ilarion and win the halftime show here. It can be so hard to get the perfect mouse click, but Drincho has got to be feeling pretty frustrated. Rodney was right next to their offlaner there. Sparklark is going to take a ton of damage, and they're following it up. He does cocoon the Murd. He's trying to get out, but no! Ifeed leaps onto him with the Worgen Soldier Greymane. And Ilarion will be going down. Or not quite. Still has 942 health. Hogger went up to push out the top lane. And this will be enough time to let Arthas and Drincho come back. Both teams separating back a little bit. So we're just waiting on Sparklark to return. The Vision Arrow does come out from Dope Monster. The Burning Hortapult Garbage gets 200, 160, 120, 80, and Bellers hits him with a Stormbolt, and it's time for Angel Pancakes. Valerian comes out with about an 80% shield, and the Punishers do hit with ranged attacks until their shield is gone, and then melee attacks. So a shielded Immortal is more powerful not just because they have a higher health pool, but because their attack pattern changes. So Arthas and Hogger continue to battle in the bot lane, and it looks like there is a camp pushing here still. But in the top lane, the BoomerGaming is going to be looking to take their first fort of the game. The shield is already gone on Belith, the demon here. Beller's jumping onto Rodney, but the cleanse comes out. This fort is getting very, very low. So is Belith's health, but the fort will go down for the members of Rodney's Invisible Gaming. The Dragonair comes out again, and once again is going to hit some poor angel doing his shopping on a Sunday.
The demon's attack has failed.
But Belith's attack is over. Both teams have lost their top fort to a Punisher. Blue team looking to jump on Bellers here, wants to create a staggered death. The cleanse comes out this time on the tank. Avatar is popped also as he steps out. Now they're looking to perhaps get onto Hogger here, but he manages to use his unstoppable. Is he going to get killed? No. The Divine Shield comes out as a precaution, and Chronicler will not die at this moment. The camp is pushing towards the gate in the top lane here. And there's also a huge wave pushing into the bottom fort also. So far this game has been incredibly close. The kills are 2-3. The buildings are 1-1. Even the experience is incredibly close. Both teams having moments where they're looking great, and both teams having, you would say, just tiny little faux pas preventing them from getting done what they'd like to get done. We don't see the glass cannon from Li Ming, so she wants to make sure that she's not as blow-upable. And going into a Greymane Hanzo, that makes sense. Both of them have abilities to blow up low-health targets very, very quickly. Out comes the Dragon Hero. It's going to hit two. Rodney does get cleansed, but Sparklark is going to take a ton of damage and does go down. And we see they're protecting the siege camp as it does more and more damage to the bottom fort of Rodney's imaginary friends. I feel like Rodney's not been able to stack his Q as much as he'd like to at 34 stacks. It's still quite strong, but I think by this point in the game you'd like to see it be a little bit higher. There's one Q, there's two Qs. They're putting a ton of damage on a dope monster who's forced to use his flip on the Hanzo. The Immortals have respawned, however. Greymane has already gotten onto Ilarion. He's attacking hard. Asmachad is just keeping an eye on this as the Rodney's imaginary friends will also attack Belith, but the race so far is to the advantage of the red team. They will win the halftime fight as the blue team waits for Anub'arak to return. And they're looking to jump onto Bellers, who leaps away, who Dwarf tosses himself, interestingly enough. Bellers now, they are jumping into Arthas. He takes a ton of damage from the Cursed Bullet. Ifeed jumps onto Sparklark, but Divine Shield is already down onto Bellers. The Cocoon was on Ifeed. Chronicler was poking out from the flank there, but is pushed away. And here comes the Dragonair, a huge Dragonair, stuns 4, and in comes Greymane, doing a ton of damage. Drincho is the first to go down. Bellers leaps towards Rayvar, and Chronicler is attacking the Vola. With no healer, this is going to stick. Azochat is down. Bellers comes in, is chasing, and at this point in the game, you basically have what is a squishy killer on the Murden. He can stick to anybody, and the Skullcracker Stormbolt combo can make him incredibly frustrating to deal with. So a good start to this for the members of Rodney's imaginary friends. They get a good start hitting the Immortal, but a great engage from the members of BoomerGaming, and they get a 2-for-0 and push their opponents off. And once again, Belith will be pushing towards the high heaven in the favor of BoomerGaming.
The demon moves for the gates of heaven.
This demon is moving for the gates of heaven. Ilarion sounds concerned. So the fort goes down and they're not able to defend it whatsoever. They're pushing away at Belth, and again, Li Ming and Vala are also both good at clearing. There is some damage onto Rodney there, and out comes the flaming pile of trash from Hogger's Horde. Grincho has been able to return here as Arthas clears out the camp in the top lane. This keep is already down to about 40%, 33%, as Beleth continues to smack away, and it's down to about 5% here. Rodney looking to get a few more stacks onto his Hungering Arrow, as the red team disengages to go and take the siege camp in the bottom. Meanwhile, Rodney's imaginary friends will jump onto their bruiser camp to put some pressure on the top lane. And it looks like BoomerGaming does want to find the amount of siege that gets them the last 1,433 hit points on this tower. Big slow there into Bellers, and now they're engaging on, although out comes the cleanse. He is unstoppable here. He jumps in and does hit a stun onto Ravar. Oh, but a great cleanse from Grincho means once again another angel is hit by an arrow that hits him as he's on his Saturday afternoon walk through the High Heaven Gardens. That's 3 angels who've been inconvenienced by these arrows, as Bellers needs to wait for his healing to come back in here. They are hard sieging up. They want this keep to have non-stop catapult pushing towards the core of their opponents. Out comes Syndragosa, though. We're seeing a big attack. There is the Divine Shield, and they're trying to get kills before this wears out. The cocoon does come out, but Vala is already dead. Asmachad trying to distract on the flank here, but out comes a lot more damage from iFeed. Bellers healing again. Asmachad still looking to get damage. The rest of the members of the team still have fairly high health bars. A great burrow charge hits 3. Asmachad looking to get more of this kind of slow burn damage from Arthas onto his opponents, as well as slow the attacks of iFeed. But Ravar comes in, using his combo, trying to get enough damage on iFeed, but the healing from Uther is sufficient to prevent them from getting any kills. And now Ravar's in a dangerous situation. If he gets stunned by Bellers, he can be turned on and killed immediately by iFeed. The Immortals have respawned, and without Vala, the race from Rodney's imaginary friends is even less, as Ravar blinks away, and that arrow is going to hit an angel who is just taking his Heaven Dog for a walk. So this has been a rough day for angels, just doing stuff, not even part of this fight. Ravar firing off the disintegration beam. But being down a hero, they have to back off now, and the race once again will favor the members of BoomerGaming. Ravar and Asmachad will do their best to hit here, and Rodney's coming back with Sparkle. They're going to have to win a fight at the halftime show if they want to get this Immortal phase in their favor. Bellers Murden has looked really good here. Sparklark, on the other hand, has been CC'd very heavily by his opponents. So they're going to look to get a win here. While they're waiting, Bellers and Bagatron just getting a little extra damage onto Ilarion. We see the red team being very careful. Both teams have hit 20 now. We have the AoE double proc Ancestral Disintegration upgrade, Syndragosa upgrade, the Vault from Vala, Rewind now for both tanks. We have the Tooth and Claw from the Worgen Warlord. The stun bullseye arrow from Hanzo. We've got Hog Wild, or No Control. Out comes Syndragosa. They're looking for the big engage here. And Greymane does get taken down. Bellers is trying to jump on Rodney, but he's being controlled very heavily. He has to pop the Avatar. The Divine Shield comes out for Uther, who's down to 490 health. And out comes the Dragon Arrow to try to prevent the healer from dying here. As Dope Master, as all of BoomerGaming, are pushed away. They mostly stayed alive here. They weren't... Rodney's imaginary friends were not able to secure many kills, but they pushed them back enough that they are able to take down Beleth and have Ilarion pushing towards the Burning Hells in their favor. An incredible fight there. And we see the Divine Shield upgrade also. So, interestingly enough, we do not see redemption from Uther, which would allow him to resurrect once after dying on, I think it's about a 5-minute cooldown. Maybe it's 4 minutes, but... He decides to go instead for the big AO or for the larger AOE Divine Shield, which lasts longer. And hey, even a second can make a big difference when it's Greymane or Greymane and Hogger charging in. So this game has gone to 20. And we're going to see a big push here. At this point, the Immortal does tons of damage to buildings. And right now, again, you see he's doing range damage and stun circles. Chronicler looking for the ability to flank here on the Hogger as Ilarion continues to do big damage to the keep in the bottom lane. Bellers jumps in, and out comes a Rain of Vengeance, but it's not enough. A big stun there comes out on Bellers. Rodney. And here comes the Disintegration Ray. Bellers does miss a stun and gets slowed by the big totem. Out comes Syndragosa, and it's a big bunch of rooting. The great Divine Shield AoE comes out on the Hoggers and onto Greymane there. The Ancestral comes out, but a big Dragon Arrow hits 3, but the double Ancestral manages to get them back to life, but not fast enough. The Cocoon comes out on Greymane, but there's still a ton of damage and no control bouncing around the members of Rodney's imaginary friend. So far, this is a 3 for nothing. Asma Chad attempting to run away, but one thing Arthas does not have is a lot of opportunities to escape, and now it's a 4 for nothing. The Hungering Arrow does kill the Hogger, but she's all alone, and that is a 5 for 1 for the members of BoomerGaming, and they're looking to come up here, take the last 1,400 hit points off this keep, and end the game. What a team fight, and that really was all on E-Bagatron. He hits that double... He hits the double Divine Shield, which keeps his Greymane alive, who had been targeted in these fights. And then that's followed up with a tremendous Dragon Arrow, and even with the double AoE Ancestral, it's not enough. They get blown away. And Game 1 is going to go to BoomerGaming. GG! Well, when we look at the in-game summary, or in-game game summary here, we see we got a ton of damage from Rodney's Vala. And again, even though I feel like the stacks maybe weren't quite as high as you'd like to see in this late of a game, you'd probably like to see it closer to 90 or 100. He still got a lot of value with his auto, still did a lot of damage. Rayvar here, again, both of them doing more damage than we see from the highest numbers on the red team. We saw in that last Immortal fight what the struggle they had was they were struggling to secure kills. And we see this in the 12 to 4. They could win fights, they could do damage. They didn't get a lot of kills, which didn't seem to cost them very much in experience, but they struggled to get the final hits, the final blow up, and it seems like in that last fight that was the problem. They jumped on their targets, the Divine Shields came out, and because they couldn't kill them quick enough, they were in turn stunned and killed out. But this was an incredibly close match, and I'm looking forward to Game 2 because if Game 1 is this close, there's every chance we see a 3-game series, and that is always in the best interest for the viewer and the caster. Here are the talents here. If you want to go over them further, please feel free to pause the video. I will take a quick look here and we'll see where we're going for game number 2, as game number 1 is won by BoomerGaming on an impressive team fight. It looks like game number 2 will be played on Infernal Shrines, and I will say Infernal Shrines is one of my favorite maps to see in any division whatsoever. One of the things I love about this division is that or about this map, sorry, is that you can win it in any particular way, and I love that. It is, in my opinion, you can win it with macro because it's a large map. You can win it with team fights because you can fight over the objective. You can win it with a mixture of both. You can win it basically however your team might want to win. If you feel like you've got a way that's better than an opponent, or if you feel like you have a strength that you're strongest at, Infernal Shrines is the map for you. Because if you can play your style better than the opponent's style, even if it's a totally different style, you can win this map. And it often leads, we often see great team fights here. We see good macro. We see teams making decisions on this map how they want to win it, and that's just a lot of fun. So we're going to pull up this replay. Oh, I actually have to leave the first replay. Pardon me. These replay casts are always a little bit more fun in terms of logistics here, so we'll pull this up. And we'll see how game number 2 goes. We would love to see, of course, a 3-game series as casters, but hey, if BoomerGaming wants to bring out... And the teams have changed sides. Oh, how I love when the teams do this. They are just really trying to make my life interesting. I will make some quick adjustments here to the overlay. As they're literally just trying to make life more fun for the caster. But we have game number 2 coming up here. We'll just do a couple quick settings and let's bring you guys in game so we can talk about the drafts that we're seeing on this map. So, this time we do have Rodney's Imagine. No, this time we have BoomerGaming on the left. So the teams have switched sides, which is important to note. Now the blue team is BoomerGaming. They've drafted Hanzo, Sylvanas, Johanna, Leoric, and Ariel. Now, sometimes teams will just push the bot lane with the 4-man and rotate top mid. Leoric is a fantastic choice for this. Leoric is, I think, a bit underrated as one of the better offlaners in the game. He's not one of the top. He doesn't have the best camp clear. He can have okay if you spec into it, but it's not the greatest. He has really good wave clear, and he has the ability to double soak lanes. On the other hand, he's not really a lane bully either, unless you're against kind of a tanky, low damage offlaner. So I would say he's a very good, but not top tier offlaner. Hanzo and Sylvanas provide plenty of both burst and consistent throughput damage. Johanna is still one of the premier tanks, and Ariel probably the best healer for throughput in the game, although again important to note, no cleanse on this healer. That's a little bit mitigated by Johanna's Iron Skin, who can in a sense pre-cleanse herself. She can't cleanse if she gets hit with a stun, but she can pop the Iron Skin if she can see it coming and not get stunned or CC'd in other ways. And we saw that actually last time it was Dope Masters Hanzo, the last game, who had some really amazing arrows and some arrows that just ruined some random Angel days off in the random other places. So we'll see now if iFeed can try to show up his teammate with some better Hanzo play. On the far side, we see Decker, Hanzo, Maiev, Chromie, and Varian. Maiev, an incredibly interesting choice. We don't see a lot of it because she's an incredibly difficult character to play, and she fits only in some very kind of specific uh, team comps or against very specific team comps. Although when teams are going to group up, she can be absolutely excellent. She has a lot of control, but she is close range and she needs to hit 2 people with her Fan of Knives Q to get its reset, otherwise her damage numbers will plummet. Hogger, again, one of the best offlaners. Deckard is a great healer on this map specifically because he can set up on the point kind of beforehand with potions, meaning even if he goes down, he can still provide a little bit more value after he dies. And if after 20 he goes for the refillable potions, his team will continue to get healing even if he gets targeted. So he can be very, very strong on this map. Chromie, probably the best mage in the game right now. Vision control, easy to hit skill shots, great wave clear, good camp clear, is capable of staying pretty far back and staying safe. And Varian, a great tank, locking people down for a Deckard follow-up route, for the Chromie temporal loop, for Maiev pulls. So this is a team that, should they get control of a character, they should be able to blow them up very well. And again, Oriel has the Crystal Aegis as a type of cleanse, but it also means that whoever, as soon as that wears off, the person is primed to get hit by more CC. So, very interesting compositions here. Both teams have a very competent team fight. I would say that it's probably a little harder on red, on Rodney's Imaginary Friends to execute their team fight, but that's just because Maiev can be a tricky champion. If Rayvar is a top-notch Maiev, then he also could make the other team very frustrated in how difficult it is to lock down the Maiev with her trait, making her able to flip out of skill shots. But that's our draft analysis. We are going to hop into the game. In the blue, again, the teams have switched sides. So in the blue now, we have BoomerGaming. We have iFeed on Hanzo, Dope Monster on Sylvanas, Bellers playing Johanna, Chronicler on Leoric, and eBagatron playing Ariel. And on the right side, in the red, representing the Hells, as it seems that these teams have switched their allegiances. Now we have Rodney's Imaginary Friends supporting the Burning Hells, as this is the other Diablo-themed map. We've got Drincho on Deckard, Asmochad on Hogger, Maiev on Rayvar, Rodney77X on Chromie, and Sparklock118 on the Varian. So this is the other Diablo-themed map. You see, again, the kind of heavenly motifs and themes here, and the hellish motifs and themes here. Now, it's often joked that Varian is a melee minion prior to 4 when he gets his form of ultimate between Taunt, Smash, and Double Blades. Don't play Double Blades. You will just make your friends sad. And it looks like, at least for the most part, the teams are content to soak lanes for now. We see, once again, simple geometry for the Hanzo. We've got the percent health damage from Sylvanas in this game, which can be strong against Maiev, Hogger, Varian, which is essentially a triple frontline. We have the Flashlight build from the Johanna. We have the Ossian Renewal from the Orc, which is fairly standard. And the Searing Light from Ariel, which means if she heals somebody who's up in the enemy team, some of that healing light will also damage her opponents. We've got the Sapphire from Deckard Cain, which provides an increased slow for his Herodric Cube. We've got the Rage build for Hogger. We've got not the Vision build, but instead the Dragon Breath Deep Breathing build for Chromie, which stacks up the damage of her W, which already does a lot of damage, and gives it greater cooldown. And Lion's Maw for Varian, which makes, once he's hit, I think it's 30? 25. After hitting 25 heroes with Lion's Fang, it also gains increased damage and greater slow. So early on, again, both teams, they were very aggressive in the middle areas of the last game. This game, they seem a lot more content to soak up. And for Rodney's Imaginary Friends, I can understand why they want to hit 4, and they have. And we, of course, see Taunt for Rhaegar because he was drafted as the tank. And now they're going to be looking to get a lot more aggressive. Siege camp for Red Team has already been cleared, and so they're going to come top to clear this siege camp. Leo and Hogger just having fun, playing off-lane games with each other. Beller's playing it safe, and the siege camp has already been taken by Dope Monster and eBagatron, while on this side, we see Rodney and Drincho coming to take out their siege camps. Man, Deckard, if you could fight monsters like this, why weren't you helping us out in Diablo 3? First time a monster shows up at your house, you just die. Sorry, spoilers for a 10-year-old game. So it's going to be a little bit behind, but both teams will have their siege camps pushing in the top lane. And the Shrine is activating the bottom, which means both of these could get... So it's really up to which team thinks they can delay their off lane longer and still safely make it to the bottom, where there is a Frozen Punisher, which is often considered the strongest of the 3 forms of Punisher, as its side ability turns off buildings, making sieging easier for your team. We now see the Ruby for Deckard, which is helpful into teams that are grouping up, as it pops out mini potions for every enemy hero that it hits. The pull in there from the Maiev, they are going to taunt, and there is Druid also. They're taking a ton of damage on a Dope Master. Sylvanas does use her Haunting Wave to get away, but she's at 120 health. She's going to have to stop and tap, which for the moment is going to give Rodney's Imaginary Friends the priority on the Shrine to get minions. They're up 16-6 at the moment. Bellers and Dope Master looking to once again... no, they're rotating. It looks like they're going to give up the Shrine for now, and they're just going to prepare to protect. iFeed is seeing if he can hit maybe 1 or 2 minions with his W or his Q, but for the moment, There's a big now. There's the taunt, however, onto iFeed. There is a stun onto Sparklark by Ariel, but again, without a cleanse, she has no way of stopping this taunt prior to 10, and Hanzo is killed by this variant taunt tech. And a team that's coordinated around the variant taunt can kill an opponent very, very quickly while that taunt is active. And the taunt does last for 1.25 seconds. The Punisher jumps over. It'll be about 15 seconds before it jumps again. The freezing comes out and will lock down this building and this building, although it looks like this turret was spared. So the Punisher is going down fairly quickly. Gate goes down. Spark looking to possibly taunt, but a good whip by E-Bagatron pushes him back. The jump comes out. And there is a taunt immediately following up on Bellers, who's taking a lot of damage so far. And there is the pull, but the Iron Skin does come out. Now the temporal loop is onto E-Bagatron, who's pulled in again. The Punisher is still alive, and this fort is actually taking a lot of damage. Finally, the Frozen Punisher goes down, but that's about 3/4 of the health gone on the bottom fort for the members of BoomerGaming. And it looks like they may be waiting for 10 before they really want to fight seriously. Very, very slight advantage. It does look like we actually see Neil Peasants from New York, so he does want to be able to clear camps more quickly. He has spec'd into this. And here's the invade from the members of Rodney's Imaginary Friends, getting more aggressive this game, wanting to tie up this series. Rayvar is jumping on Hanzo, pulls him in. Oh, the W is doing all sorts of damage to the Maiev here, but she manages to survive, picks up a potion that makes that lovely little potion sound. I believe Diablo 1 even made that potion sound, if my recollection is correct. And we've seen a little bit of a departure from the ordinary Hogger build here from Asmoshad. It is not the just rage talent, rage talent, rage talent. But I believe that may have been true last time too, because the Burning Loot Horde he had last time as well. Oh no, he didn't take the Burning Loot Horde this time. Silly me. But 10s are coming out. We see the Dragon Arrow again. Oh, here comes the stun. The Blessed Shield into the mind control. That's a lot of damage, but they have not yet killed Drincho or Rodney. Drincho's getting extremely 27 health. He is finally killed by an auto from Johanna. But they've used 3 ultimates to get that, and they hardly got 1 kill. I think they would have liked to have been more efficient with that to get at least 2. But as I was mentioning them, yes, the Blessed Shield into the Dragon Arrow, into the mind control. They also have Entomb and Crystal Aegis, which gives them excellent engage and disengage tools. And like we mentioned earlier, it did seem like this team was waiting for 10 to start being aggressive, and boy did they get aggressive as soon as they had those tools in their hands. We've got Stay a While and Listen for the Ancient Deckard Cane. Hortapult for Hogger. We've got Containment Disc for Maiev, which has a very short cooldown. 30 seconds? 40 seconds. We've already seen the Temporal Loop, and of course, Varian gets his quote-unquote ultimate at 4. Here he just gets Shield Wall, which gives him protected instead of just the ability to parry auto attacks. But it looks like they're going to try and finish off this heap, and they do. And Sparklark looking for the flank for a taunt, but instead does get hit. The Containment Disc comes out, and they're going to try and body block. Iron Skin is finished off, but they're not able to get the kill. I think they wanted the Sylvanas there, but between the Haunting Wave and the Iron Skin, this may not have been the best place to go. But honestly, there's a lot of escapes outside of Ariel for the blue team in terms of trying to get away. Oh, the mind control comes out. I don't think it would have hit anyway, but Rayvar does do the jump flip just to make sure. The Shrine has come up, and this time it looks like it will be a Mortar Punisher, which throws little bombs around. Both teams looking to race here. A good whip there. Bella's trying to pull her opponents. A good scroll of ceiling there from a Drincho, trying to spread the team out, which does happen. Rayvar pulls in too, but this team seems a bit split on its priorities right now. Some of them are looking to poke, and others are looking to get on the train. There is the taunt onto Johanna, but she pops the Iron Skin as soon as it's over and manages to walk away. Dragon Arrow does hit 3, a big stun, and the Entomb comes out as well. Again, they have big AoE wombos, so the mind control does hit Drincho, but he manages to survive as a ton of damage goes into iFeed, and the Crystal Aegis comes out. The first one to go down in this huge fight is Johanna, but Hogger is taken down as well. Chronicler now getting attacked by Sparklark and the others. The Temporal Loop will come out on iFeed, and Rodney is looking to kill the Hanzo. He does. So far it is a 3-for-1, but the health bar is on Rodney's imaginary friends is incredibly low. But Bagatron will retreat. Chronicler will stay here to keep an eye on his opponents as he is dead and to slurp the life out of them as the Undead Skeleton King. He needs to be careful though. He is on a time period. He can't be taunted. He's going to take a lot of damage. He uses the Wraith Walk to get out of that. Which did make him unstoppable, so he was able to get out before he was murderized. In the bot lane, Dope Monster and Bagatron are preventing this from pushing any further. And so we see this Mortar Punisher will go over to the side of Rodney's imaginary friends.
Yes, they have, and it will attack the high heavens as soon as it's done looking at some minions.
They bait the jump over, which is best tech. It's what you want to do, and they do manage to also bait it onto the tank, which is normally what you want. It will jump again about 15 seconds. And there is the taunt onto Bellers. He does the containment disc does come out on Hanzo. Asmojad had to come in. They're trying to lock down the front line here. Oh, a great stay a while and listen as the mind control did miss. The temporal loop is onto Johanna and she dies. Rayvar trying to jump onto Bagatron as there's still just over half health on this Punisher as it kills the top fort. So their main tank is dead, and Leo can have a hard time as the main tank. Asmojad is split off on the Hogger to take care of the mid-siege camp, but they're looking to take the fort here, as Johanna's at for 15 more seconds, and they're putting a ton of damage onto this. And so they have, while the blue team has the ability to really have some great wombo, big AoEs, by locking people into the Entomb, hitting them with the Blessed Shield, hitting them with the Dragon Arrow, so huge AoE wombos, it seems like the red team, with Temporal Loop, with the Taunt, Containment Disc, they're more looking at catching one character, killing them out, and even if it's the tankiest character on the enemy team, they are not afraid to blow them up. They will target Johanna because they know they can kill Johanna. Bottom siege is taken by Asmojad, and the siege camp for Rodney's imaginary friends is captured as well. At the moment, it looks like Rodney's imaginary friends are in control of this game. They're painting different parts of the map red. They've also gotten their 16s first. And we are seeing the Banner of Dalaran that gives increased spell power, which will make Chromie even more terrifying, and it will make the heals of Drincho more powerful as well. So the banner is dropped with the spell power, which means Chromie's going to hit this mid fort even harder. Rayvar does come in looking to see if it's possible to pull someone into a taunt, but the red team will back off here as they got some of what they wanted. They weren't able to grab an easy kill, so they are rotating away. And this fort is about 60% health. It looks like they're hoping for, as is sometimes called, the Chinese party bush, but the vision does come out very smartly from iFeed's Hanzo. They are going to be aggressive and try to steal this. Their opponents do have 16, but they're very split apart, and all 5 of the red team are here. But Bellers looks like he wants to come in. There's the taunt onto Johanna. She takes a ton of damage. The containment disc is on her. They haven't procced it yet. Now it's finally procced as they steal the camp. A mind control into Rayvar. He's super low, but Hanzo, iFeed is blown up first. Rayvar does manage to get away. Chronicler is taking a lot of damage here, and he dies. That is a 2 for 0, and iFeed has just now finished Simple Geometry. With this camp and with 2 dead, it looks like they're trying to get another kill and seeing if they can end this game. Although most of their ultimates are down, Taunt is back up, and we look to see who they might try to focus here. Balor's taking big poke from that Chromie, and they decide it's not possible to end the game here yet. They will back away. They will try to finish off this mid fort, and it seems unlikely that they'll be contested. They'll probably just, blue team will just try to protect this gate if it gets pushed in, but it does not at this time. The shrine will activate in 30 seconds. And Rodney's imaginary friends now looking to take this camp, which they do. They're looking a lot more confident on this map. They're looking like they had a plan and they're following it. There's the taunt, but no one is really there with Sparklark. He was kind of a little ahead of himself on that one. The containment disc does come out, and then there's a silence. The Crystal Aegis is forced to come out. Dope Monster is popped away, and a big heal there. Big Dragon Arrow, and the Entomb comes out. The Mind Control is on Raver, taking a lot of damage. The Stay Alive list comes out. Raver manages to stay alive again. That's the second time Ravar's been knocked down to almost no health and manages to survive. The Temporal Loop will pull iFeed back. But that is a number of ultimates popped with nothing to show for it, although all the ultimates are gone on the side of BoomerGaming. Chronicler not afraid to walk in here. Hanzo doing the infinite spin. Chronicler is killed as he gets locked down, and they didn't even need the taunt for that. I wouldn't be surprised if Hogger is incredibly dizzy after this. Even as if you're a Knoll, this sort of spinning cannot be good for your brain. There is an anchor position here from Sparklark, looking to see if there will be another attempt by BoomerGaming to come in, but it looks like they have given this up. Sylvanas is going to go up top and clear out this wave, because if they're defending and these two catapults come in, it can destroy their core while they're defending the bottom from this Arcane Punisher with its little lasers that spin around our variant. If you've played Diablo 3, you know how annoying those can be. You don't always pay attention to where they are, and they can do a surprising amount of damage if you're not walking out of their influence, and you can see where they are there, just spinny lasers. There is the jump onto Chronicler as he eases away. Now, 20s have almost arrived for the members of Rodney's imaginary friends. They're very, very close. In fact, Hogger looks like he's going to try and push the mid lane while this is happening. Do see the Temporal Loop onto iFeed. The Crystal Aegis does come out. He's taking a ton of damage. He is killed by Rodney. His Chronicler goes down as well, and Bellers is down to 10% health. The Punisher is going to kill this fort, and they're looking to push in with 20s. We have to stay a while and listen improvement. We've got no control. Shadow Warp Huntress stuck in a loop, and the Glory to the Alliance. So now all three of the banner abilities are up. There's the Taunt onto Bellers, taking a lot more damage. This Chromie damage is insane with the deep turning. No control comes out and does kill Johanna, although Hogger dies for it as well. Ariel goes down to my Ev in the background, and Dope Master just trying to stop the huge damage that these can do while Sparklark is trying to push her away. But it looks like game number 2 is going to go to Rodney's imaginary friends. That ties the series up at 1. GG. We've got game 3 coming up, and it is all to play for. And boy, howdy, do I love a game 3. I hope you feel the same. So we see this time, last time they were struggling to finish kills, to get last hits, and it really cost them. This time, not the problem. Outkilling 12-3. And they picked heroes that let them get the final hits. Big slows from Deckard. Maiev being able to pull people in. Chromie just disgusting at damage. And the variant taunts forcing enemies in. And then the Lion's Maw slowing them down, not letting them get away even once the taunt had ended. And although there were some really good escapes on the blue side, Sylvanas Haunting Wave, Hanzo Leap, Ironskin Johanna, and Leoric Wraithwalk, they're just not able to get away from the lockdown that was drafted out of Rodney's imaginary friends. And that gave them the opportunity to take control of this game, take control of the shrines, and just push till this game was over. Again, we saw some really good AoE wombo potential in the one top fight. The problem being they kept losing one character at a time, or losing one character in an inopportune time, which is what Rodney's imaginary friends wanted to do. Catch someone in an inopportune time or an inopportune place, blow them up, and kneecap that wombo potential. They did this perfectly. That was their plan. Don't let the wombo come out, and basically, when there were true 5-on-5 fights, they were incredibly equal. But most of the time, Rodney's imaginary friends did not allow the even 5v5 fight. They wanted to take one character out. They wanted to make it impossible for their opponents to fight on equal footing. And when that happened, they won. And they won hard. They would split their opponents up, prevent their ults from coming out in a coordinated fashion, and that's a big win for them. So these are the talents. We can have a quick look at the stats. Again, tremendous damage for this Chromie. Hanzo is hardly half. Chromie is a disgusting character right now. I'm not joking. She's disgusting. But, yeah, absolutely tremendous damage. Great damage from the Hogger as well. Again, we don't see Maiev having the huge numbers, but Maiev is very much a utility damage character. Locking people down, containment disking people so they can't participate in a fight. A lot of strength. And Rayvar's Maiev did what Maiev does best: eat a whole bunch of attempts to lock her down, flip out of it, and then eat out and survive. 2 or 3 times, Rayvar was probably lower than 200 hit points. I was pretty confident Maiev's going to die here, and she gets out. So excellent work here in game number 2 for Rodney's Imaginary Friends. We're going to get to see a game number 3. Will Boomer Gaming manage to pull out the spirit they had in game 1 and prevent the reverse sweep? Or is Rodney's Imaginary Friends feeling the confidence now, and are they going to get the broom out and reverse sweep their way to a victory? We shall find out soon. So, game number 3. Don't do that. Game number 3 is going to be on Garden of Terror. Another fun map, in my opinion. Again, it's a large map. You can do macro, you can do team fights over the Garden Terror points. Lots. Dahaka is disgustingly strong on this map. Junkrat's good on this map. Chromie is also good on this map. That's a huge surprise. Uh, um, but lots of tight corridors, lots of bushes, lots of opportunities for kind of this gank squad idea. So it would seem like it actually plays toward Rodney's imaginary friends. And good gravy, these teams. I'm gonna have to have a talk with these guys because they've switched sides again on me. So 1 second, please. Ah. Garden of Terror has a lot of camps to take on it as well. So if you're taking control of the game and you're stealing your opponent's camps, you can take experience away from them. Um, so this is another game where having good control of chokes, having good delay as someone tries to channel a point can be incredibly strong. Pardon me, I'm going to blow my nose 1 second. Thank you for your patience. So, in a final kind of best of one, winner takes all home, again, the opportunity for bushwhacks seems like it would be what Rodney's Imaginary Friends wants. But it's not necessarily mutually exclusive to the goals of the Wombo that it seems like Boomer Gaming loves to draft. When people come in to fight over a point, it tends to be fairly choky. There tends to be areas, blind angles, and bushes to hide vision. You can set up Wombos there and blow people up as well. So, both teams have every opportunity to win in game 3. So, let's get going. We've got Boomer Gaming facing Rodney's Imaginary Friends here on map number 3, Garden of Terror. So, as we've done before, let's do a quick look at the draft for both teams. We've got Anduin, Jaina, Leoric, Hanzo, and Diablo from Rodney's Imaginary Friends. Jaina, a bit of a, what would I call it, a niche pick for this map specifically. Again, with the tight choke points and the mid-range you see a lot here, Jaina can be incredibly strong. Some of Jaina's weaknesses are that she doesn't hit very far and she doesn't have a lot of escapes. But again, with someone like an Anduin to pull her out and setups like the Diablo crowd control or the Hanzo era, Jaina can really start to just blow people away. Her close to mid-range damage for a mage is tremendous. And then the lingering slow can really set up somebody like Leoric and set up Hanzo to get even more damage onto enemy characters. So I think Jaina will be a pivotal part of the control of this map for Rodney's Imaginary Friends, and the Hanzo vision will be extremely helpful with, as we've said, all the bushes, all the weird angles on this map. Having vision will prevent kind of the blind ganks or the crazy angles you might see. On the red side, from Boomer Gaming, we have Rhaegar, Yrel, Greymane, Thrall, and Johanna. So a bit of an interesting, two incredibly tanky frontliners, but this is basically a quintuple frontline team. Every single person on this team wants to be in your face right now, and I wonder if Jaina was last pick because Jaina loves when people need to walk into her. She slows them down, she hits them with tons of damage, Anduin can save her and reposition her. Everyone on this team, their main attack, their main damage comes from melee. Now, Yrel can take both Ardent Defender or Sanctified Ground, I believe it's called, at 10 to survive longer. Greymane, we already know, can do a ton of damage in Worgen form, and Thrall is no slouch. Both of his ultimates provide a lot of control to the battlefield, whether it be Sundering or Earthquake, and we've already seen that Beller's Johanna can survive a long time in combat, unless it's getting, Varian and Chromie down, but there's not many heroes that can handle that. Rhaegar also does have the cleanse from level 1. So there's a lot of, I would say, anti-blow up on this team. A lot of these characters outside of Greymane can kind of prevent themselves from being blown away, and Yrel and Johanna and Rhaegar can actually help Greymane not get blown away with different skills that they have. So it'll be interesting to see, but it's risky. When everyone on your team is melee oriented, it can always be risky. It means you're clumped up for Hanzo arrows, it means you're clumped up for Leoric and Tombs. It means you're clumped up for Diablo Fire Breath or the Apocalypse if that's what he chooses. So I do think the burden of execution is actually going to be on BoomerGaming in this game. They picked an incredibly aggressive, incredibly in-your-face comp, and if they can't find a way around the control and damage of the close-range Jaina, they might find themselves on the losing end of this game. On the other hand, if they can get in quickly and blow up that Jaina, they can win. There's not a lot else that the red team or the blue team has. Like, Hanzo does not like being jumped on. Diablo, as soon as his cooldowns are off, is just kind of a big red dot. So we will see what this looks like as this game progresses. But let's get this game going. In the blue, representing Rodney's imaginary friends, we have Drincho on Anduin, Rayvar on Jaina, Asmochad playing Leoric, Hanzo being played by Rodney77X, and Diablo being played by Sparklark118. And on the right, in the red, we have BoomerGaming. E-Baggertron is on Rhaegar, Chronicler is on Yrel, Dope Monster being played by Greymane, I Feed on Thrall, and Bellers playing the Johanna. So we see the Power Word Shield out of Anduin, giving shields with his W. We have Fingers of Frost from Jaina, letting her stack up some mana regeneration and increased damage from Frostbite. Consume Vitality. You don't often see this from Leoric, but it makes sense when you're into an all-melee team. He can get 4% of his maximum health from every member he hits. If he hits all 5 members, he can get 20% of his health back in a team fight, which is tremendous. And the Q is on a fairly short cooldown. And it gets even lower when you take this. Skeletal Swing's cooldown reduced by 2 seconds. So it's not used a lot into a heavy melee comp. It can provide actually much better value than Ossian Renewal would. As it looks like in this game as well, both teams are going to try to start predominantly with clearing waves. We also see Simple Geometry again and the Soul Shield from Diablo, which may be indicating that he's going for the Fire Stomp, Fire Breath build as opposed to the Apocalypse, but it's not necessarily mutually exclusive. We've got Totem build out of Rhaegar, we've got Dauntless from Yrel, casting basic abilities that gives armor, as opposed to some of her health retaining abilities at level 1. Viciousness, as per usual, Rolling Thunder from Thrall, which I think has become the favorite of both the off-lane Thrall and the 4-man Thrall at the time being, and Flashlight build from Johanna. And again, Johanna's going to have a much easier time stacking this Frostbite passive and getting her Ice Block into a melee team. Asmochad's taking a lot of damage here. Leoric does not like strong auto attackers, and having iFeed and Dope Master both show up to support this camp is going to make his life difficult. He's going to have a hard time clearing this camp without losing his entire gate if someone doesn't come help him. So, Rayvar and Sparklark are taking this camp, and Hanzo supports this bottom. But up here is where we're going to see the action. The first turret is down, the second turret's about to go down. Asmochad is sucking the life out of Dope Monster, but he gets rooted by iFeed. He's going to get low, but Drincho is here to support. Sparklark will come up as well, and Jaina coming the safe rotate route. Both teams have a siege camp pushing mid, and Hanzo is pressuring Chronicler in the bottom. Most melee characters do not like facing ranged characters in the offlane, but Yrel is one of those characters that can kind of survive and sustain through it better than others can. The first seed will be on the blue side. Sometimes teams will choose to give up the first seed if it's not on their side, because it can be a little tougher. You don't have the same advantage. But Chronoler and Magatron look like they're going to see if there's an opportunity for them to get priority positioning and priority strength here. Rodney playing this safe, as this time BoomerGaming is just looking to attack another gate. They've got the full gate in the top lane. They might as well look for the full gate in the bottom lane here. And they're doing a pretty good job. Dope Monster, the Greymane is excellent attacking buildings, and this is what he's doing right now. They drop the totem, so it takes the tower shots instead. In comes, they're going to try to kill Chronicler here. The push in by the Diablo. They're not body blocking. She's taking tower shots. She jumps, but there comes the damage from, well, the Anduin gets the final kill, but Jaina comes in as well, and Yrel dies, which means this first point is likely going to go over to Rodney's imaginary friends, and they are looking more confident here in game number 3. As Sparklark tanks the minions, it looks like Rodney will attempt to cap here. Now, Bellers can delay this with her flashlight. Shine! Johanna, the sworn enemy of Diablo. Many Johannas have killed many Diablos over the ages of Diablo 3. I'm sure he doesn't hold a grudge, though. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy. He's more about terror than hatred. His brother Mephisto, now he can hold a grudge. But Diablo, nah. He just wants to scare the piss out of you. Man, was Diablo 1 scary. Spoilers for a 25-year-old game, but Diablo 1 was scary, guys. Alright, they grab Bagatron and the flip there from Diablo, but Dope Master is going to jump onto the Diablo as well. Drincho's taking a lot of damage as the CC comes out, but Azwichat has jumped into this fight, and Rodney's here as well. Bagatron is taking a ton of damage. The blind from Bellers is going to keep the healer alive. Chronicler backs out as well. But some of that was an opportunity for Raybar to get a little bit more on this Frostbite, and she is up to about 10% of what she needs. And, Eye Feed has gone Frost Wolf Pack, which can be challenging to complete, but has incredibly high value when you do complete it. But that is contingent on A, not dying, and B, never missing a W. So, a lot of confidence there. The flashlight does detect the Diablo here, as this is a neutrally placed seed. Dope Monster is alone in the top, and it looked for a moment there like Rodney's imaginal friends did want to separate him from his team. But with Leo in the bot lane, they are outnumbered here. It is a 5v4 because we do see Yrel here in the mid lane, and she's actually pressuring Hanzo out of lane with her aggressive jumps. Beller steps in, but Rayvar's going to hit some of her spells. She's up really far without help. Anduin would be able to pull her out here. Chronicler looking for the flank here. They're going to turn onto Chronicler. He's all alone, but he knocks them back. There's the charge by Diablo. The Unstoppable is popped. It's too late. He dies. Thrall is now on Rayvar in the backline, but they are down one here already, and it is a 5v4. The minions are dead, and BoomerGaming is going to have to give over. Now, Flashlight comes out once, but Rodney here is going to put more damage onto this Johanna as the seed is captured by the members of Rodney's imaginary friends. A good sidestep there by Bellers. Avoids being destroyed. Right, they're looking to invade onto the siege camp now, as they still do have character advantages. Johanna has just gone back to base, and Yrel is just going back to life. IP is super low, and he dies. Rayvar jumped on, but again, the output healing from Anduin is very high. And Rayvar is kept alive again, although she's getting extremely low on mana, so it seems they are going to back out here. Rayvar backing in a very risky spot. If Beller flashlights, no. She does get out safely. So we see Yrel is back in the bot lane. Again, they do have some building advantages. They have the top and bottom gates destroyed, but if they lose the siege camp here is taking this gate, if they lose the garden terrors, and it goes over to the side of Rodney's imaginary friends, they're going to lose probably gates on all three lanes. As the garden terrors do drop a bulb that stops your buildings from firing, and that is kind of what you want to target first if you can't get immediately on the garden terror. Chronicler will take their siege camp in the bot lane, and the next seed will be positioning favored for the red team, BoomerGaming. The tens have come out, and here comes the Blessed Shield. James Hanzo gets to lead it immediately, and Rayvar has jumped on it as well. And once again, the wombo focus of BoomerGaming this time has done incredible good. That Blessed Shield was perfect, and then the Sundering and the Cursed Bullet came out, and they blew apart the two main damage dealers of Rodney's imaginary friends, which means this time they're going to get the seed. And it looks like they're seeing if they can get more than just the seed here. Dope Monster keeping up his W stacks. Beast Within, maybe? I don't quite recall what his W is called. Inner Beast. I was close. They're going to flip Ifeed here. Here does come the Fire Breath as he pops the Soul Shield, and the Entomb comes out on Ifeed as well. At the moment, Bellers was capturing the point, but out comes the Ancestral onto Ifeed. He's going to take a ton of damage and does go down as Rayvar and Rodney are back. There is the stun. The Dragon Arrow comes out, but the totem means they're so slow, they can't follow up on that. I wonder if maybe Rodney was hoping that they were a little closer, maybe here, as opposed to right at their gate. But we see a kill in return. The kills are still forged to in the favor of Rodney's imaginary friends. And all the ultimates are out now. So we see Light Bomb, Water Elemental, Entomb, Dragon Arrow, and Fire Breath. Lightning Breath, sorry. And then we've got the Ancestral Healing, Ardent Defender for Muriel. So basically, hit me as much as you want and I will heal instead of taking damage. The downside of that being it has a full 2-minute cooldown. The Cursed Bullet, Blessed Shield, and Sunring we've already seen in action. As Asmachad comes mid, looking to just provide just a little bit of support to the siege camp. Yrel looking for the gank onto the Jaina in the bot lane. Rayvar is not being careful. She does get jumped on, and back control will jump on as well. Out comes the totem, and it's not her teammates coming to help her. It is Bellers. Rayvar is alone and is destroyed. But the seed is coming up in 2 seconds, and they're going to look to delay their opponents, capture it, and get the Garden Terrace. Ifeed is coming around the corner. Can he stop Drincho in time? He's going to run straight in, and he does cube. He's going to take a lot of damage here. The Cursed Bullet does go on, and out comes out comes the Sundering, but it only hits the unstoppable Diablo. So both teams have lost one member as Asmachad puts pressure onto Bellers here. The seed will be gathered by Rodney's imaginary friends. And Jaina is up now. Ifeed is still dead for 14 more seconds. And he has been a bit targeted with 3 deaths on his side. It's been a bit tough for Jaina to get the damage she wants in this game. And so she is only about halfway to her ice block at, level 14, which is not ideal. So she's going to try and get some damage here onto Bellers. The main push is up here in the top lane where 3 members of BoomerGaming were. It looks like they're trying to decide how they want to allocate their resources. In the bot lane, Yrel is facing off against Asmachad's Leoric, the Skeleton King. So we got quite a few Diablo enemies, or we got 2 Diablo enemies on the side of Rodney's imaginary friends here. Out comes the arrow, and it is going to be onto Dope Master. Out comes the Ancestral, which does save his life. But, a huge W, what is that, angle arrow? Scatter arrow onto Johanna, and she takes a ton of damage there from the completed simple geometry. But backing off are the members of Rodney's imaginary friends. I mean, the experience is so close right now. They got 1 fort, half a fort, and maybe a quarter of a fort here. They are going to invade onto the siege camp on the bottom here, as they do have a positional advantage. Chronicler gallops past on her shiny, very cute horse. Almost flamboyant, I would say, that horse. Really wanting to show itself off. And the Sparklark will capture, or begin capturing, the Bruiser camp in the bottom, as Chronicler keeps these siege giants from attacking their half health fort in the bottom, or 3/4 health fort-ish. It's a big siege camp pushing top, or Bruiser camp pushing top, which can do a lot of damage if left unchecked. So Asmachad is rotating there. That is his 3rd hero of this match. So decently wide hero pool for Asmachad. Rayvar again playing fairly close up, trying to get her, and I can say this is one of the main struggles on Jaina. You want so badly to get your Frostbite stacks, and it can be so hard to do so. It can be so hard to get them in a timely manner, and then you sometimes find yourself up a little too far getting hurt as you try to get that damage out. Because without Ice Block, you are a lot more susceptible to blow up and to wombo. We've got the Wraithwalk build from Leo this game. And full Fire Stomp for Diablo. Leo is finishing the camp on the top, but this will give positioning priority to the members of BoomerGaming.
Gather the seed, heroes. Quickly.
And both teams just positioning up, trying to find a way to have an advantage. Bellers does get scouted out by the Diablo. They're quick to blow up those seeds. Will Chronicler begin to channel? No, not yet. The seed is now unprotected. Now, Rodney's imaginary friends have 0 because they did just get a lot of damage comes out onto Diablo, including the cursed bullet. But the animal here comes the water elemental as they're putting tons of damage onto the Urel, but out comes the Arc Defender and she's back to full health. Dope Monster and Urel jumping onto the Diablo, but out comes the Light Bomb, which does manage to stun too. Bagatron IP stunned there. They jump onto Sparklark, who's down to very low health as the Wraith Walk from the Orc is lowering the damage of the opponent's eye feed, getting incredibly low. Slammed into a wall by Diablo, blown away as he loses his Frost Wolf Pack stacks. And they have targeted the Thrall, and he's still at 0 for the Frost Wolf Pack stacks. The mid lane fort also is down to about 10% of its health after that. This is still at about 60%. So Asmachad gonna come in. The Cursed Bullet comes out and Asmachad's taking a lot of damage, and that attempted gank, in fact, leads to his death. They're doing a ton of damage now. The root from the Janus 16, but Dope Master gets out just in time with a big Bagatron save.
Blue team has destroyed a fort.
So that ends up being a bit of a Pyrrhic victory for the members of Rodney's imaginary friends, as I think they wanted Diablo to be tanking those shots, but as the Entomb came down, those shots started targeting Leoric, and he started taking a ton of damage from the Cursed Bullet and from the fort, and he ended up taking just a ton of damage there.
Seed has sprouted.
Cursed Bullet will be up again momentarily. Well, 25 seconds, but it's got a very short cooldown as Rodney's imaginary friends go to steal this Sea Giant camp. They jump onto Bellers, and there's the Entomb. Donna doesn't really have a way to get out of this. Out comes the Fire Breath. Bellers taking a lot of damage. The Unstoppable. The Cleanse comes out, but she gets killed by the Hanzo, and they are now without their... I almost said captain. They're without their tank, but in the top, Chronicler did capture that siege. They do have 2 now, and they just need 1 more to have the opportunity to take a couple of forts themselves. Welly is tanking this fort's shots as it goes down, and there are no more forts left for BoomerGaming. There aren't really much left in the way of camps to take. Asmachad is looking to take this, fighting with Chronicler and using Drain Hope to get some health back. iFeed looking to support, but has to hit his second stack of Frostwolf back as he looks to finally finish his level 4 talent.
Prepare to gather it.
Blue team looking to take this out quickly. They do not want to give this seed that's up in 20 seconds over to the members of the red team. BoomerGaming would desperately like to have this and try to even out the experience in this game and the buildings in this game. If they can win a fight here, get this, and take a fort, they will hit 20 probably a little bit sooner. And they would love to take the 19v19 fight, but they do have to stop these camps from pushing in.
Seed is ready for gathering. I suggest
So these camps will
you do
also
it
be
now.
captured by the members of Rodney's Invisible Friends. They will hit 20 right away, and so BoomerGaming is not going to risk it. They're not going to go in with the risk that Rodney's Imaginary Friends hits 20 first, as they just have hit 20, and they have their choices here. This is only the second seed for Rodney's Invisible Friends, so it's not imperative that it be collected by BoomerGaming. We see Censure, Bullseye, Hellgate, Water Elemental upgrade, so Wintermute, and Leo has not chosen yet, but I have to assume it's the Buried Alive. It is incredibly strong, although I forget what it's called, but the one that latches Drain Hopes onto everybody nearby can be strong into a 5 melee, so that might be the choice he's being forced to make now. 20 is not yet ready, but very, very close for the members of BoomerGaming as well. He goes for Shroud of the Dead King, so in fact he's taking the don't take damage. I don't know that I've actually seen anyone pick that before. Buried Alive just being so strong. 20s have come in for our red team now, and we do see the double Ancestral, Seraphims, the Unstoppable. Here comes the Dragon's Arrow, and it does pop onto Dope Master. He takes a ton of damage. Here comes the Ancestral, and it's going to go twice. Diablo is unstoppable there with the breath, but they do manage to defend against this push. Although a fair number of ultimates used. Every ultimate on the blue side is down. The red side does still have Sundering and Ardent Defender as they chase now. We also see the Tooth and Claw for the extra Worgen attack damage. Windrush for Thrall, and The indestructible, blinded by the light, activate to grant nearby allied heroes a shield. So the shield ability from the Johanna, making her team tankier. And again, they all should be near her when this happens, so she should be able to get a 5-man shield here. The Wraith Walk is popped to keep Asmachad alive, whereas in the middle, Ardent Defender is now popped. That's another ultimate down. Cursed Bullet is back up for Dope Master. His teams are on equal footing. They both want this 3rd seed, and now the positioning does favor BoomerGaming. But quickly fixing that is the members of Rodney's Imaginary Friends as Diablo rotates around towards the top. Asmochad is coming in. Is he going to look for a big entomb? They get Bellers pretty much alone. A Great Dragon Arrow does stun 3. A ton of damage coming out onto Thrall. He's very low. He does pop Sundering, but he is dead. Bagatron is now getting hit. He does manage to get into his wolf running form. He's taking a lot of damage. He does manage to get down the totem and stays alive, but on the far side here, the chase is on to Greymane and he dies. Bellers is now here, all alone. The water alley does go down. Chronicler is going to jump onto Asmachad. Bellers and Chronicler looking to return some damage here. Rhaegar is chased out and killed by the Diablo. The 3rd seed is collected by Rodney's Imaginary Friends, and they do get Garden Terrors in every lane. And there are 3 dead. That's a 3 for nothing for the members of Rodney's Imaginary Friends, and they've only got 2 tanks left to clear. None of their good clear heroes are left alive at this moment, so they're going to have to play this patiently. The Unstoppable does come out from Chronicler, but they don't have Ardent Defender for another 35 seconds, as this mid fort will go down, and the bottom keep is going to go down as well. The Garden Terrors are killing these keeps, and it looks like they want to end it. Now Thrall's up in 4. Bellers does get caught in the Entomb. There is no silence here. A ton of damage comes out, and Johanna is blown to bits. Out comes the arrow, and it's not going to hit an angel this time, but it is going to ruin someone's gardening day. The Seraphim is trying to clear out these Garden Terrors. Well, over here, the fight is continuing. Dope Master is so low. Doesn't die. Eye Feed also incredibly low. The reduced damage coming out from Asmachad as he gets some health back from the Skeleton Swing, but the Garden Terrors end this game, and the reverse sweep is completed by the members of Rodney's Imaginary Friends. Game 3 goes to Rodney's Imaginary Friends. GG's! And what an incredible 3-game series. BoomerGaming had an incredible game 1, and it looked like they had a plan for what they wanted to do in this series, but I wouldn't even say they made a draft pivot, but some draft choices that gave them a little more lockdown to finish kills off. That focus from the members of Rodney's Imaginary Friends let them play the style of game they wanted to play better. They really seemed to have a preference for the lockdown, kill a hero at a time, win fights kind of front to back, or just pick someone off, kill one person, then win a 5v4. The Wombo combo drafts from BoomerGaming helped them win Game 1, and it had some really great moments in Game 2 and even in Game 3. But I think this final Game 3, this 5 frontline team, backfired on them just a little bit. It didn't really have an alternate mode. It didn't have a place to shift gears to. And I think maybe having Urel in the offlane, it could provide value. I'm not sure it was the value they were looking for. That may have been where I would have made a change here. Or maybe not having Greymane as your distance character. Maybe having a hyper carry in the back. Something that can do a ton of damage, so you have this really, really beefy frontline taking care of it. Thrall died a bunch this game. I don't think he ever did finish. No, he has 4 stacks on Frostwolf Pack now. Wasn't able to get value out of that. And Wizened Duelist also, only at 10 stacks. But incredibly entertaining games. GG's to both these teams. Really, really fun games. Both teams played excellently. The games were close. And I think even Game 3, every fight had the opportunity to be close. It just usually came out on the side of Rodney's Imaginary Friends. It's worse than the 11-4. This wasn't a stomp, and it wasn't a domination. It was a close game. Both teams hit 20, probably about 15 to 20 seconds apart from each other here. It's just that, again, without having an opportunity to do much else besides go in, and then the Jaina slowing them down so they couldn't even really get out, it made life very hard for BoomerGaming. And so this series does go to Rodney's imaginary friends. Thank you all so much for joining me on this replay cast. The VODs will be available for 7 days on Twitch, and after that, they'll be available on my YouTube channel, Omster. If you'd like to see more NGS content, there's plenty of it there. And that's it from me today. I've been Omster. These awesome teams have been BoomerGaming and Rodney's Imaginary Friends. Feel free to check them out also. And that's it for me today. Go enjoy yourself some HOTS.